Okay, welcome to the Private Capital Group Company overview. Today we're going to learn about private lending and who Private Capital Group is, what it does, what a private lender is, and how the two are associated with one another. What is private lending? Private lending is an alternative to conventional or institutional funding sources. So private lenders are not a bank, anything but a conventional or institutional source. There's a lot of differences between banks or conventional sources of financing and private lenders. The main difference is the focus is on collateral in underwriting rather than a focus on creditworthiness of the borrower. And we'll learn more about how that emphasis is underwritten. Although the borrower is important to a private lender, the emphasis is placed on analyzing the collateral. And it's no secret that banks look at that too. They do care about what type of property they are lending against, but the emphasis is put on the borrower and the creditworthiness of the borrower in the bank's case. The second biggest difference between a private lender and a conventional source would be the speed. Private lenders can generally underwrite a loan in a fraction of the time required by conventional lenders. That's for several reasons. The main reason would be the private lender can write the check, whereas in a bank there are several committees and several guidelines and hoops to jump through. By the time the approval is given, there are conditions extended, and banks typically fund in many more days or weeks compared to a private source. And because of that, the next difference between a bank or a conventional source and private lending source is the interest rate. Private lenders' rates are higher, and that's because of the speed and the overlooking of the creditworthiness of the borrower when a property is creditworthy itself, when the collateral is strong. Rates at a bank, as you know, range from the low 4s and 5% all the way up to maybe 10 or 12%, whereas that's kind of the low end for a private lending rate. Private rates can range from 10 or 12% in some cases all the way up to 24% or more. And there are usury laws in some states that determine what that amount can be. And that's all part of the underwriting process when a loan is presented to a private lender. The term is also much shorter in private loans than it would be on a conventional loan. Conventional loans range from 5 to 30 years in most cases, whereas a private loan's term is generally between the 30 days and 360-day mark. So it's typical for a loan to not exceed 1 year in a private loan case. How does PCG facilitate lending? Private Capital Group offers several services that add value to a private lender's experience. Number one is the lending opportunities themselves. We'll learn more about this, but Private Capital Group is submitted several lending opportunities for private lenders. Number two is preliminary underwriting and gathering of due diligence. Number three is securitization strategies. Number four is loan servicing. And number five is the closing itself and the final accounting of the loan. So let's go into providing lending opportunities. What does that mean? Private Capital Group has built over the last several years an extensive network of brokers, attorneys, financial advisors, real estate professionals, and title companies. The list goes on and on of the members of the network, from individuals to companies that are approaching Private Capital Group on a daily basis to submit valuable lending opportunities for Private Capital Group to underwrite and then present to the private lenders themselves. And that brings us to that third bullet right there. PCG sifts through the mass of loan applications and locates loans that fit the criteria that has been set by its group of lenders. If a loan is submitted for a startup company and that company is looking for $10 million and there's no real property attached, or if a drilling operation is exploring and they're trying to fund their PPM at $15 million, those typically aren't the type of deals that the group of lenders PCG has associated itself with are interested in. The ones that make it to the top of the pile are those that have low LTVs and a lot of cross-collateralization with great borrowers, great projects that are on terms that range from 30 to 90 days, sometimes 6 months or a year, but those are the type of deals that PCG's group of lenders are most comfortable with, and thus those that PCG most often underwrites. And typically PCG's lenders prefer loans in the amounts that range from $250,000 all the way up to $5 million secured by real property. And because PCG's lending pool is so vast, so many private lenders are participating, it's unlikely that one lender would be presented the opportunity for even a $250,000 loan. In most cases, private capital groups, private lenders that are associated, they're interested in funding those loans together. So, for instance, on a $250,000 loan, there may be 10 individual private lenders that loan $25,000 each, and that makes the $250,000 loan amount. And each of those lenders has their respective portion as a first lien holder, respective or commensurate with the portion that they lent. So it's rare that a $5 million loan will be funded by one lender, and that's another great value of being associated with other lenders in one family of private lenders. Underwriting and due diligence is key to what Private Capital Group offers, and key to the success of private lenders' experience. As part of the gathering of due diligence, PCG performs an on-site inspection. It meets with potential borrowers and analyzes other potentially applicable information. That information usually includes an appraisal, comps and realtor opinions. Number 2, title reports, surveys, environmental and geotechnical reports. Number 3, financial statements, corporate documents, and operating agreements. And number 4, pro formas, market condition reports, and borrower exit strategies. So it's important that every corner of a transaction is researched to ensure that the borrower has its ducks in a row, the property is one that could be liquidated if we were to end up with it, and that the value is there to justify making the loan in the first place. And if research suggests that the loan meets the risk criteria set by PCG's lenders, a loan summary is created and disseminated with a due diligence package with those items that we've collected to its network of lenders. So everyone has an opportunity in the network to review the information that has been collected, and then each lender is then responsible to examine all the information and make an independent decision regarding whether or not a given opportunity fits their individual lending criteria. So unlike a fund, Private Capital Group never takes the money and pools it itself. It never requires that each lender lend a certain amount on a certain transaction. That decision is up to each lender. If a lender sees that after reviewing the research that a certain loan is sufficient for their risk criteria, then they go ahead and commit to lend any given amount against the total loan amount. Funding and securitization. So PCG coordinates directly with law firms and title companies to assist the funding and securitization of each loan. Many private lenders are scared of lending because those types of relationships and managing law firms and title companies, bringing it all together for one loan is often a very daunting task. But those tasks are streamlined by Private Capital Group, and Private Capital Group coordinating those things makes it a lot easier for a lender to participate in a loan instead of doing it all themselves. And the attorneys prepare all the loan documents as well, which includes lien instruments, promissory notes, personal and corporate guarantees, and other pertinent documents. The things that protect you as a private lender, those are drawn up by an attorney, and that also keeps you from having to do that yourself or pay the attorney fees by yourself to have those things done, cutting down on the costs and enhancing your upside if you choose to participate in any given loan. The title companies provide title insurance and assist in the closing and funding of each loan. Obviously, that's key. Anyone that's bought a home or been involved in a private loan knows how important the title company's role is. And as mentioned, instead of Private Capital Group pooling each lender's money, each lender wires directly to title if they are participating in title coordinates all of those things on behalf of each lender, so that each lender can ensure that its own respective first position is filed and recorded correctly. And finally, lenders committed to a loan wire directly to the title company's escrow account. I already kind of covered that. Each lender's name appears individually as the secured party on the loan documents, and you'll be provided a copy of those loan documents to make sure that happened.